In the last tutorial, we looked at how to install Tomcat, and we created a very simple Java web application with a simple servlet, and we packaged it as a WAR file and we deployed it Tomcat. And in this tutorial, we will see how we can run Tomcat inside Eclipse. Before we were running outside from a DOS command by running the bat file startup.bat. Now we will see how we can run it within Eclipse and deploy the project that is inside Eclipse straight to Tomcat. And also we will see some variations as to in the POM file, instead of providing a dependency with the scope of provided, what happens if we put it as compile. And also when we created a simple web app project with Maven before, the archetype plugin has created a index.jsp file, so we could also, which actually outputs the hello world, we can also run that from a web browser. So firstly, let's see, in the pom.xml file, we mark the JavaX Servlet API as provided, which means we want it to compile our servlet into a .class file, but we don't want Maven to package it up. So we noticed that when Maven packaged it up, it only included the web.xml file, and also it's inside the target. So and also it has put the servlet inside the classes folder. Classes folder will be in the class path, and then my tutorial is the package and simple servlet and the web.xml file. So now what if I go and change this to the default compile scope? So in this case not required, but when you build industry strength applications, your web application will be depending on 20-30 other utility classes. For example, if you use Spring, then you need the Spring jar to be in the class path, because Tomcat wouldn't have Spring jar file. So you need to create your dependencies. You need to write your dependencies for Spring or whatever, and then you got to put the scope as compile, so that it will be included inside your WAR file. So now if I go select the simple web, right click on it and say run as, and say Maven install. So the Maven is going to package it up, and this time you can see the servlet jar file gets included inside the WAR file. So this will become handy if you want to include Spring libraries and things like that as a jar file inside your lib. So now if I go and refresh this, see, I can see inside the web bin classes I have the servlet same as before, but now it has created a new lib folder, and in the lib folder I can see the JavaX Servlet API.jar, which is this jar file. So now it has packaged it inside the jar file. And the next thing is, we have looked at the Maven archetype has created this inside the web index.jsp. So inside the web app is where you put all your resources like HTMLs and JSP files and so on. So JSP file, actually when it gets run, it automatically gets compiled into a servlet class, and then it gets invoked. So index.jsp, the good thing about JSPs is basically in HTML you will be embedding dynamic content like constants and Java calls and so on, where servlet is the other way around. So in servlet is in the Java class, you will be outputting some HTML code. So there are places for servlet and index.jsp. So JSP goes into for the views, and servlet is pretty much used as a controller. So if you look at the servlet, see here, you are doing java.out.print lines, printwriter.out.print lines, but you're outputting HTML content. But in the JSP, you are having HTML, and within that you are having some static, or you can also have dynamic Java content. So that's where the JSPs and servlet differ. But eventually a JSP gets converted to a servlet. So we have seen those two And now if I want to call this JSP, I can go here. So before we call the simple web simple, now I have to call simple web index dot JSP, and this should output hello world. Now you get hello world. You can also see view page source. You get output the hello world, which is nothing but exactly what the JSP is outputting. HTML body. So the next one is to see how I can run Tomcat inside Eclipse. So now I'm already running it here. So let me go and kill this. So to kill this, I do Control-C. Now this Tomcat instance is gone. Now if I go and try to refresh this, also you need to make note that we are using port 8080 because we saw earlier Tomcat starts on 8080. So if I go and click index.jsp, it won't find it. So it keeps looking for it and eventually it will fail, unable to connect. Now I go into Eclipse, go into Window, Show View and Other, and there should be a server and servers view. So I say OK, and here you can see servers view tab is created. Now I right click and say New Server. There are quite a few options in the server, so I go into Apache and we are running Tomcat 9. So I select Tomcat 9, next, and I have to add, so because I have already set it up, normally it should ask you for the folder. Let me see if I could, and it will ask you for the Tomcat installation directory, and I have provided the outside Tomcat directory that we have. So we put into ctools, Apache, blah blah, and then Apache. So I've already set it up, and Workbench default JRE is going to use the JRE that came with the Eclipse Workbench, and we have also now pointing to the external installation of Tomcat. And now if I say next, it will allow me to deploy this simple web as a project. So I can add this and then finish. So now Tomcat server has got simple web inside. It's basically deployed, but the server is not started. So I just right click on it and say start. And you can see the server starting inside the Eclipse console window itself. Now the server is started. Now I can go here and click on the index.jsp again. You can see the hello world, and also I can call my servlet as well, so which is with a simple URI. Now you get the simple. So this is how you run Tomcat inside Eclipse. Thank you.